More and more, I'm going to be communicating like the Voice of America did against the old Soviet Union and Communist China, directly to the controllers. Just like wartime messages during the Second World War that the United States and England beamed into Nazi Germany. I want to communicate directly to the propagandists, the minions of the system, and their family members. We're witnessing the mid-stages of the Fourth World War. And those of you that work at the CIA, Defense Intelligence, and other groups will understand exactly what I'm saying. For the general public who also may be tuning into this, I want to be clear. The Pentagon, as well as the Ministry of Defense in England, considers the Cold War to be the Third World War. And I agree with them. The Fourth War is by a mega elite of corporate barons who seek to set up a planetary government waging war against the nation states. The globalists are establishing socialist and communist systems on the grassroots, but internationally are tax exempt above it and operate as fascist. The system can best be termed and named crony capitalism. Now, our signal's not strong enough to reach everyone on the globe, but we are reaching about 28 million people a week. And if we're able to get through to the general public to speak out and take action, we can really block what the social engineers are doing. But these messages are pointed directly at the individuals working as corporate pitchmen at high level, PR propagandists, the big think tanks, the tax-free foundations. Those are above Defense Intelligence, NSA, CIA. But I want to direct this message because the public knows the terms Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, Department of Defense Intelligence, Army Intelligence, Naval Intelligence, Marine Corps Intelligence, because you know about the geospatial labs and different organizations. I can communicate to you in terms you know and hopefully decompartmentalize a lot of you. And obviously you put out a lot of information through legal channels that helps decompartmentalize us. Together, we're trying to restore a new renaissance, build what the founders of this country meant to construct, a new future for humanity based on innovation and free association, what Francis Bacon called the New Atlantis. So, choose the side. Pro-human, want to empower humanity for real, or enslave humanity in the name of the nanny state. This is the epic battle taking place. And I remember about a year and a half ago, there was a press conference on C-SPAN with the Undersecretary of Defense. You can pull up the article. Pentagon promises to stop lying because of Drudge Report was the headline. It's an hour-long press conference, and they say, we've been lying to the public about WMDs. We have no credibility. Our approval rating's below 10%. We're patriots. We want to stop lying. We're going to stop lying. Now, at that time, General Dempsey and others had said no to attacking Syria, backing al-Qaeda. It was partially a true rebellion, but there were other factions in there. But what the good factions didn't understand was the, quote, rollout of the Pentagon propaganda domestically to stop the globalist takeover with the collaborators was actually a plan by the collaborators to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and actually have a Pentagon rollout domestically telling Pentagon operatives it was to stop the globalist takeover, but actually taking out local media and sending in your change agents who meant well as the first point of contact to get local independent patriot media to actually work with the system. Then as they incrementally ratchet up the globalist agenda, those local affiliates and groups wouldn't realize what they've been hit by. Now, again, what you're getting here is the definite message that's on point of the globalist operation. So when I say my message to the CIA, NSA, Defense Intelligence, and other collaborators, it's not that you're a collaborator individually. Whether you be a white guy or Hispanic, Asian, woman, whatever, working as an analyst or working on the field or whatever it is, many of your operations are for a greater good. I get that. But in the larger system, it's about global control. You don't see yourself as a collaborator, but what America has built and pushed the last 50 years is the construction of a tyrannical world government. And we have a Congress with a 7 to 9% approval rating and a press with a 6 to 8% approval rating, depending on the scientific poll. So the American people understand that we're being lied to. They don't know the details. And when they find out the details, it's going to be explosive. That's why the globalists want to create false rebellions, race wars, fights over class envy, classic 19th century robber baron techniques financing communism to divert the masses off of going after robber barons and instead sick them on the guy that owns a restaurant down the street and drives a Porsche. Classic class warfare, divide and conquer. I'm about to go over some articles here in this transmission, but this is a direct message to the programmers, the propagandists, the manipulators. I know that it was the whistleblowers in more than 16 federal intelligence agencies that exposed 9/11 before it happened, leaked intel, and then on the day it happened and the weeks after went to Congress, and Congress created the 28 pages of what really happened in part. Now they're trying to confuse the public, saying the 9/11 Commission says that's not true, as if that's the commission. We're talking about the Congressional Commission, not the one the Bushes put together with the Democrats and the neocons. So again, these are complex issues, but just giving you a gestalt here, it was good people in the government that exposed that it was an inside job to launch a globalist empire and destroy a liberty inside Western countries at the same time, securing the homeland that the foreign banks had enslaved and taken over, their beachhead, to then exploit those nations against other countries in the takeover. A lot of you at the Pentagon have gone, I've heard of that before. That's the communist program of take over a nation, then exploit it in the next operation to take over the next country. But again, it's not a communist conspiracy. The communist blueprint was only one beta test of the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and others who openly finances, now declassified, the overthrow of the czars and more. So, to simplify this because of time, my message is, you know intrinsically, as universal law, it's mathematics, that when you dumb fellow humans down around you and lie to them, it creates viral feedback loops in the larger group collective consciousness. That's not some new age mumbo jumbo. That's the mass human internet of communication. When you dumb down the family and destroy the basic benchmarks of human ascension and rites of passage and coming of age, you block humans from going through genetic marker stages that release the instincts of past generations and the survival instinct of the species to innovate, to persevere, and to transcend. You are committing absolute vandalism against the species. And it's happening physically with the genetic engineering, the genetic drift out of the GMO crops into human genetics and other animal genetics. This is unspeakable, and it looks highly planned. Much of it's admittedly planned, but it's so planned, I get chills when I see the master design. I know a lot of you are smart to see yourselves, or at least a large piece of it as I can. Now, do you really want to join with this? So you can have a few more years watching football and partying and going out on the lake and picking up hookers or whatever you're out there doing? Because I'm not here to judge you, but I'm here to tell you. This is the end of humanity as we know it. Not some fireball killing the earth, but a new technotronic era forming that ends humanity as we know it. A system that dumbs down its own people, its own species, is cancer. And the elite we have are power mad. They are incredibly insane. They are out of control. All the numbers, all the actuaries, all the angles show that. And I know most of you agree with me, but you say, what do we do? The public's in a trance. They're dumbed down. They're drooling. They don't care. They're just as evil as the establishment. That's the curse of the globalist. They know metaphysically they have to turn us into animals, turn us into beasts, turn us into backstabbing rats before they are allowed to come in and get us with free will to decide we're these ugly, demonic creatures and that humans are bad and that we should be wiped out. Well, here's the message. A large minority of humans on this planet, of every diverse background, we have rights as sentient beings, and we want our destiny. We want control of our own lives. We want a piece of this dirt. We love our families. We love other humans. And we want to build something. And we don't give you right to run over us. We tell you in open court in front of the whole universe, stop now, cease and desist. You will not cross this bridge. You will not pass. And our wills are set against you. And this is metaphysical, my friends. Your will manifest physically in your own actions. This isn't some Oprah Winfrey secret crap. This is the real secret. And I want everybody who loves liberty and freedom, whether you work for the system or a corporation or you're outside of it, but because you even known about it, you feel like you're part of it. I know that feeling, because knowing this knowledge is very painful. But don't let that blowback come onto you and make you feel like you're bad just because you have knowledge of this when you're not part of it. Stand against it. Make the decision to say, God, I want to join you. I want to join light and love and what's good. And I stand against the evil. I stand for children. I stand for independence. I stand for family. I stand for freedom. I stand for the right of ascension and the human rituals that every culture has to activate the genetic memories and to carry forward our continued species that is totally collective in every sense, but individual in every sense, the true union, the true perfection of imperfection. There are many colony creatures on this planet, but they have no consciousness. Humans have incredible individual consciousness, but group consciousness with everyone alive on the earth, 7.5 billion people, and group consciousness with the tens of billions that came before us. We go into the past, we are in the present, we project into the future. That's why the psychopaths get so greedy and crazy when they realize the potential of humanity and lust to control that future for themselves, because they can see where this is going. The minute you see where this is going and decide you want a part in human destiny and this great saga that you're the latest chapter in, and that you will live forever as long as this species isn't destroyed, and you realize the globalists are sabotaging our genetics and wrecking us in their mass fear of what the next generation will become, you will transcend death, hell, and everything else. God gave us this plan and this planet. We are challenged by evil, true wickedness. Will you stand against it? It's not a hard choice. It's animating. It's the great contest. It's what you were born to do. Whether you're in the system or not, don't lie to yourself. You choose to serve this. You betray your ancestors, your species, and everything good in creation. And I don't just mean here. You have the gift of free will. Don't let it be stolen by interdimensional pirates. Choose it, take it, know your power and your strength to move forward. I feel so sorry for the hundreds of publications making fun of us when we just point out the CIA's running all this race war crap. They ran all the Sunni Shiite civil wars, all of it. It's all declassified. They put dictators in everywhere. They torture. This isn't our government. These are foreign collaborators working in the National Security Act of 47 to overthrow our republic and use the engine of liberty that they hated so as the yoke, as the food, as the fuel, as the energon cubes to take over the world. The British royalty wrote more than 200 years ago that if the American system took hold around the world, they'd be out of business. And it took them a good 100 and something years to get control of the American system again. And they bridled the American system like great Clydesdale horses to pull their demonic carriage of world government across the planet. And now they're ready to kill the old horse and send her off like a vision of Animal Farm to the glue factory. Well, I tell the pigs that run the New World Order, your fall was already destined long ago. You can run the big psychology departments and everybody else and say that people that have vision are delusional, and people that believe in humanity are delusional, and people that love their families are delusional, and people that believe they have free will are delusional. But you sure got free will. You sure are the ascendant, but you're not a narcissist, are you? Oh, no. Oh, no. You manage the thinkers, don't you? What happens when the thinkers awaken and stop sleeping? What happens when the sleeper awakens? Let's go over a few articles here, and I'm going to end this transmission. Infowars.com isn't perfect. It's got a lot of problems, but it's the best we can do. We're breaking our backs. We are blood, sweat, and tears to just try to warn humanity because we love you. My ancestors loved me so much. They loved their children that went on to have children. There's an electrical connection from me right back to the first ancestor I had, and same with you. And all their instincts, all their blood, all their understanding, it's all right there, because I was one of the last generations to go through the classic rituals. And that's why the nanny state doesn't want you to get in fistfights, doesn't want you to engage in other archetypal events like shooting that deer and slitting his throat up with your father and drinking that blood and all the other rituals. I've done them all. And even the bad rituals, I got sucked into early by the dark side. The dark side used to use rituals to control people, but they learned just get rid of the rituals entirely. Even the dark rituals gave me understanding of the enemy. And God used that weapon formed against us, against them. But I will tell you something right now. You can transcend this enemy and really live anytime you choose, anytime you want. There's no church. There's no school of Jonesyism where I tell you exactly how it is and how there's almost impossible for you to transcend this. It's so easy if you decide to really tune in to history and what you are, a composite of everyone before you now living in a colony cell group of organs and tissue and a mind with a soul sitting at its seat with a spliced replica genetic memory recording, trillions of times more advanced than Big Brother's computers, living in you. And these people say they're gods. Ray Kurzweil and the transhumanist. They're going to direct us. They're going to take us to Valhalla when we're already standing on it. When we're already on a space base, perfectly positioned to launch out into the future. I have a dream, and I know it's real, and I know my ancestors had it, and I know many of you have it, for humanity to do incredible things. I don't have fear of physically dying myself, but I have fear of the species being destroyed, twisted, thrown down, decimated, sacrificed in a satanic ritual on a planetary scale. And I want the will of humanity to set itself with God's standard in our hand against the failed, fallen, twisted, so-called gods of this world. That's my message to the establishment from my heart. And if you're so twisted as not to know what's genuine and real, then you're too far gone. Let's go to this article. Bad news. Just 6% of people say they trust the media. It was an Associated Press poll. They've had Gallup polls showing the same number. It's 6 to 8%. Watchdog says press freedom in decline in new era of propaganda, jailing of the press, firing of the press. The United States leading the way, not the U.S., but the collaborators that have hijacked the country. Think about what you're part of. Say no to it. Trump sweeps 5 states, Clinton, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Sanders, Connecticut, and he's been winning everything, but they steal it from Sanders. Not that he's even good, but she's the establishment. Trump, I don't completely 100% say he's perfect, but they're going after him because he's a sign of populism. They're trying to bring him down, just like they said right-wingers just got elected in Austria. No nationalists did. Humanity is fighting back. There's this video that I cut earlier where I break down, does Beyonce work for the CIA? National controversy explodes. It is all over the news. Hundreds of publications saying Jones is insane. Well, here's an article 3 years ago. Foreign press. Yeah. This is a division of the Washington Post, and it's Foreign Policy magazine. U.S. repeals propaganda ban, spreads government-made news to Americans. You can pull up, they say, oh, we're allowed to deceive you. Oh, but this doesn't exist. This is how dumb they think you are. And they play these games. It's like when Chris Carter came out and told a bunch of publications in a press conference, the creator of X-Files, that he was basing the new character, the press guy, his new X-Files on Alex Jones, that he thought it was credible, the world government was a threat, the New World Order was real. They responded by just saying, Alex Jones is insane. Chris Carter isn't making X-Files about him. I don't care about X-Files. I'm not into all that stuff. The fact that we're so successful that we influence culture is just a sign of success getting out to the people. It's a bellwether. It's a weather vane. It's a gauge. But that's what they do. I mean, Obama came out and said 16 times, we'll never put boots on the ground, I promise, in Syria. They've now done it. And the State Department came out yesterday and said, we never said that. It's a lie. It's a conspiracy theory. I mean, if your car won't start because the battery's dead, you don't just say conspiracy theory to it and it starts. Like abracadabra, hocus pocus. This is delusional con artist talk where they go, conspiracy theory. Hey, you know, the Pentagon's funding the NFL and the CIA for the halftime show. That's admitted. Beyonce did the halftime show. Oh, yeah? Where's your proof? You're like, oh, here it is. All these articles are going, Jones doesn't show any proof. That's why you have a 6% approval rating. And it's not that I'm fighting with you. You're pathetic. You're like in Monty Python where the arms and legs are cut off of the knights that go neat, neat and want a shrubbery. and are demanding, tolls. And it's like, I've cut your arms and legs off. They go, it's simply a flesh wound. I'm fine. Oh. I care about you. Be honorable. Wake up. They put cancer viruses in the vaccines. I've been telling you that for 20 years. They came out last week in mainstream news and said all over the world are recalling polio vaccine because they were putting live virus in it that gives you cancer. You want cancer? Jesus Christ, man. I know. Once you admit this is going on, then the whole cakewalk and your socks that don't match and the little trendy beard and all of that. I don't care if you have a beard. Point is, you're a little fake fan. You're the intellectual because you watch Comedy Central and and you're real screw humanity. Yeah, okay, we lied. It's a better agenda. Yeah. I mean, you think you've got it all figured out. Worse than the CIA are all these trendy sites and all you. These pseudo-intellectual fascists, social justice warriors, white knights, all of you. I just thank God I'm not Beyonce or any of these turds. I mean, it's just miserable. Let me just show you that since I mentioned it. Let's just type in Alex Jones just to give you an example of what they're doing, because they'll say, Jones was claiming there was news articles about what he said about Beyonce, but he's completely insane and that's not true. Look at all these articles. Look at all these articles. Just dozens and dozens and dozens. Jones convinced Beyonce's Lemonade is part of a CIA conspiracy. Jones, Beyonce's Lemonade is CIA plot to start urban terrorism. Alex Jones, Obama's a demonic creature. And it just goes on. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones says Beyonce's Lemonade is part of CIA. And it's Esquire, New York Daily News, CNN. It goes on and on and on. Oh, Billy Corgan came on. And it was cold in the morning that day, and so he was wearing a sweater and a jacket. And they made fun of him and said he was dressed in Esquire like a pile of rags. So they didn't respond to what he said about corporate control, media control, social justice warriors going after free speech. They just said he was dressed like a pile of rags so that all the trendies go, ugh, and feel official and feel powerful and can make fun of him. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. So, I'm out of time here. I'm going to stop now. Look into epigenetics. Look into race memory, the human race. Look into culture. Find out why they claim they want to be the protectors in government of culture, but they really get rid of it, create synthetic pseudo-culture where you have a chip on your shoulder and just fight with everyone around you no matter who you are. That's all balkanization and control. Find out about real culture. Go out and be part of coming of age rituals. I don't care if it's soccer or football. That's one of the things I'm always criticizing sports because it becomes this religion. They attach their propaganda to sports. They're going to phase out sports in the future or really reduce it because part of physical contact and just physical battle releases a lot of these archetypal memories. But there's stuff way more advanced than that. Having a child, taking care of your children, reaching out, going and speaking to a crowd of people about things that are a serious concern to you. That'll absolutely boost your IQ. It'll accelerate you. Your body will go, I'm a leader. I need to be in leadership. I need to really start focusing on what matters. Admit you're under attack. Admit the globalists are here. Admit that there's a threat. Admit they're creating an artificial civilization. That is a ritual in and of itself. Study Carl Jung. I never even had to read his books. I instinctively understood it. People told me that's Carl Jung, so I went and read it for myself. It was prima facie truth. That's really a school of thought against Sigmund Freud, Edward Bernays, and others. Truth is, I don't need to read any of these books. I already know it because my ancestors knew it. And you say, well, that was the past. Let me tell you, what they went through, what your ancestors went through was incredible. They loved us. They had will. I love humanity. I love the God that created humanity. I love you. And I know we're going to defeat them. And I hope people in the system can do whatever they can to say no and be romantic again and realize there is good and bad and realize there are good people. Stop your cynical behavior against just general progress. See, the biggest conspiracy theorists are establishment people that nothing can be good, there's no hope, and just screw people over. No, the general public's pretty damn good, and culture's pretty good. It's the controllers that are managing it and sabotaging it to dominate it. Infowars.com/show. Infowars.com/show is all the free feeds, the iPhone, the Droid apps, the podcasts, the free newsletter, all of it. Infowars.com/show. We couldn't do this without you. They're doing everything they can to shut us down, to demonize us, to misrepresent what we say because they're scared for a reason. This is just organic, real guts taking action against tyranny. just like Steve Pachinik, who helped write the Tom Clancy books and is the Jack Ryan character in Patriot Games, and was one of the founders of Delta Force, an international assassin, and overthrew all these governments. He comes on my show. It's not about ego. It's about recognizing what works. And he says, Alex, you're like rock and roll. It's real. He used the term, what was the term he used? He used the term, he uses a lot. It's sincere. It's sincere. It's sincere. I'm sincerely know we're being screwed over. I have the proof. I want you to get out of your days. I know a lot of you are already out of your days. I'm talking to those that are in their days. Or those that are out of the days, let's reach out to more people. I really want us to win and succeed. This is just a human behavior. They've tried to breed this out of us. And that's why Infowars.com, out of a whole group of people resisting tyranny, and there's a lot of great folks, is right up there at the top. And that's a big responsibility. That's why I'm saying I need people to discover the wider spectrum so you can discover more than I've ever learned. I'm trying to duplicate myself, replicate, and also find people that are better than I to give a platform. I search for the guest. I search for the host. I search for the authors. I search for the people to come on my show that can teach me and help you and help us all. And I get so excited about the things they're saying. I try to add things like a child. That, and this and that too. And did you know? Because that's who I am. I am a child. I am a child. It's the mind of a child that can really see the majesty and the beauty of the world. The globalists want you to be an arrested development person who never sins, but is twisted like a cynical old man. It's very sick because they want you to sleep and die and not exist so you're not competition for control of this planet and the incredible technologies being developed on it. If you let them rob your birthright and your whole future for baubles and slave-made iPhones and all this crap, I'm not saying you're bad. You have those things. Just they're not your gods. If you don't start being part of the culture, you submit and lose your soul. When you screw other people over and dumb them down and steal their birthright so you can rule them, you steal part of your own birthright. You stab their eye out, you stab your own eye out. Don't you get that? Infowars.com/show. Please spread that link. This is my message to the establishment, to their minions, and anybody else who will listen across the 7 continents of this planet as we hurtle towards our future. A future we will decide if we choose to.